Zelensky personally addressed Putin. Welcome to the War Insider YouTube channel. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin recorded his New Year's speech not with the Kremlin in the background. For the first time in his reign, behind him lined up people in military uniforms. Social media users recognized among them regular participants in the speeches of Vladimir Putin. The speech lasted 10 minutes, during which Putin repeated the standard Kremlin phrase about the need for a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the defense of Donbass, neo-Nazis in Ukraine. He called 2022 the year of difficult and necessary decisions. Once again, he accused the West of preparing for aggression against Russia and complained about the sanctions war declared against the Russians.
The West lied about peace, but was preparing for aggression. And today he admits this without embarrassment, openly. They cynically use Ukraine and its people to weaken and split Russia. We have never allowed and will not allow this to happen.
In his speech, Putin is trying to justify Russia's war against Ukraine, says the American Institute for the Study of War about Putin's New Year's speech. According to analysts, the content of the celebratory speech indicates that Putin is not confident in his ability to shape the Russian information space. The Kremlin leader continues to focus on justifying the war and its cost to his people.
Putin recorded his speech at the headquarters of the Southern Military District to portray himself as an effective wartime leader who actively controls military operations. Putin likely staged these events at the headquarters of the Southern Military District to support the Kremlin's efforts to portray Putin as someone actively involved in the conduct of the war and an effective wartime leader.
From the official report of the Institute for the Study of War. Indeed, if we analyze Putin's speech, it does not enhance his person. On the contrary, it indicates some weaknesses. Putin began to make excuses. His speech is aimed at convincing society, explaining to society, justifying the hopes of society. That is, response. Putin no longer sets the agenda. He tries to explain and win over society. He is no longer leader, he is already a follower. This is a completely different situation for the Russian political system. It wasn't ready for this. It is used to living in an information monopoly where propaganda media imposes an agenda that the authorities need. And then the war, which did not go according to plan, began to impose an agenda on the Kremlin itself, and they are not ready for this. Putin's speech had some very interesting characteristics. First, this speech prepares Russians for the fact that Russia will be closed. Putin spoke about the conditional image of a besieged fortress. It was about protecting Russia itself, and not about some kind of acquisitions. Nothing was said about victories at the front. On the contrary, it was about threats. He spoke for the first time about the independence of Russia. This is a reflection of how the Kremlin elites feel about themselves and what they are trying to prepare the Russian population for. This is not a war for the independence of Ukraine. Ukraine is an independent state, clearly understands its borders, its history. This is the war for the independence of Russia. Russia does not want and cannot give up its imperial heritage, and the heritage of Russia is completely intertwined with Kiev. As soon as in Russia they try to dig a little deeper into history, they immediately stumble over Kiev artifacts about monarchical ties with Kiev. It is important for them to destroy Ukraine, so that there is no one who can question the imperial myth of Russia as a European state, a collector of Russian lands with a deep history. And the third moment is the presentation, in which everything was very bland. There was nothing absolutely new. Obviously, they were preparing a speech at the last moment, perhaps a few days before the New Year. While Kremlin resources were already actively spreading Putin's New Year's greetings, Russia once again fired more than 20 cruise missiles at Kiev, Khmelnytsky, Zaporizhzhia, Mykolaiv, and Kramatorsk. The president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, in this regard, publicly addressed Putin and the Russians.
This whole war that you started, you, Russia, not with NATO, as your propagandists lie, she is not for anything historical. She is for one person to remain in power until the end of his life. And what will remain of all of you, citizens of Russia, does not bother him. Your leader wants to show that he has the military behind him, that he is ahead, but he's just hiding behind the military. behind missiles, behind the walls of his residences and palaces. He hides behind you and burns your country and your future. No one will ever forgive you terror.
As a result of Russian New Year's rocket attack, more than 20 people were injured and several died. Volodymyr Zelensky called this attack not the results of the year, but the results of the fate of the Russian Federation. And in his New Year's speech, the president of Ukraine said that during 2022 Ukraine changed the world, and the world discovered Ukraine. A few minutes before the new year, the president wished all Ukrainians one thing: victory.
I wish our cities to be free, our friends to be loyal, and that in reports of about 100,000 destroyed enemies, thousands of units of destroyed Russian equipment, our main figure and main success appears 603,628 square kilometers. It's the area of independent Ukraine, as it was since 1991. As it will always be. May the new year bring it all. We are ready to fight for it.
According to Volodymyr Zelensky, the steadfastness of Ukraine, the unity of its people, and faith in the armed forces of Ukraine will be the key to victory. We continue to follow the struggle of democracy and totalitarianism. Follow the struggle of Ukrainians for their freedom. If you liked this video, please give the like. We'll be appreciated for it.